All right, how is it going? And welcome back to How to Invest in Commercial Real Estate.
What is up?
We have a super exciting show. As you can see, we have another guest on, actually in person this time, which I kind of like. I like seeing people. You know, we're not in the COVID bubble anymore. It's nice to have people in the studio. But anyway, before we get to Kathy, our amazing guest, I wanted to give a quick update. Criterion has been doing a ton of deals this year. We have a ton of deals in the pipeline, but this last week we were able to finally close on the Marine Creek development, which is our Starbucks and Shipley's Donuts build to suit down in Marine Creek, which is a suburb of Dallas. So we closed on that last Friday. We're super excited to get going on that. Really cool project. Anyway, thanks to everyone who got involved in that. And obviously, if you didn't get involved in that, you're not signed up on our investor list, which if you're not signed up on the investor list by episode 100 and a lot, you need to do it. It's so easy. Go to our website. But anyway, Kathy, thanks for coming on.
Welcome, Kathy.
Thanks for
Kathy
having me.
is with the Tulsa Real Estate Investors Association. Did I get all of that?
You got it.
And she is a local resource here in Tulsa that I personally didn't even know about, which I'm ashamed about. But tell us a little bit more about how you got into not only commercial real estate, but this Tulsa Real Estate Investors Association and kind of what it is.
Yeah. So the Real Estate Investor Association, we say Tulsa REIA for short. So Tulsa REIA was started by someone in, early 2000s. He passed away in 2017. It was passed along. I came along probably 2.5 years ago and took it from just a few people meeting in a room to, just.
How many members do you have now?
So I started out, we had 2,100 members and we just crested 9,200.
Wow. Nice.
9,200 people in Tulsa Real Estate Investors Association that we didn't even know about.
Yeah, I don't know about it. And you got it that large. And what year did you take over?
About 2.5 years ago. So, gosh, what is that?
2.5 years ago, you
20.
took it all the way to over 9,000 people.
I feel like a failure.
Well, I think I have to ask the question before we get into anything else is, okay, what do you think were the keys or the differences to get it from 2,000 to 9,000 over the last 2.5 years?
I think the community building was really the biggest part of it. Just giving an opportunity for people to chatter about a certain topic. There are trends, in investing. So when it was Burr method, we would, gear it toward the conversations would be toward, Burr methods. So people got to ask all their questions.
I don't know what that means. What is that?
Yeah, that is buy, rehab,
Okay.
renovate,
Rent.
rent.
Repeat.
Yeah.
Something repeat. Okay.
Something to repeat.
All right.
Yeah.
I now know what that is.
Yeah, so that was a trendy method at the time. Interest rates have changed. We talk a lot about interest rates, or people doing wholesaling. There was a period of time where that was a prevalent conversation. Now we're we're in a different part of the cycle. Now it's sub twos and taking over loans with not using a lot of your own funds. Lending is always a topic. So we just provide a platform for people to get together and ask those questions and get together and make deals happen together.
How often do you meet?
So we meet in person once a month. It's second Tuesday of every month. We do have a location now for the next 24 months for sure. It's the Looney Bin Comedy Club and Event Center, and they're at 65th and Memorial, roughly.
Okay.
So we meet there. First hour is networking, 6 p.m. to 7, and then we bring in a speaker 7 p.m. till whenever they stop.
You say in person. Do you have other events or?
Yeah. So we do have some networking events that will, just, take some space at a local bar, kind of a meetup kind of thing.
Okay.
How have we not sponsored this?
I'm just saying, I just love the fact that it's at 6 p.m. at a bar instead of like 7 a.m. every Wednesday. Or
Yeah.
so
Interesting story. When I first got into real estate and I had no idea what I was doing, all I was doing was calling on newspaper ads for cheap houses. And then one day I got one under contract and I'm like, now what? I don't know who's going to loan on a North Tulsa house that's in bad shape. Mm-hmm. And so I ended up going to this real estate investor deal. I think we met in a hotel at the time.
Yeah, that was before my time, but yeah, they did.
And they happened to have like this kind of expo that night where people had booths set up for their services, title services, maybe home inspection, survey, whatever.
It's like a buffet for you.
Yeah.
At the time.
And so for me, I had no idea. And so I started talking, and one of them was a lender, kind of a mortgage broker that specialized in kind of alternative type housing. And I ended up finding him. He gave me the loans on the first 2 deals. I would have never gotten those done without him. Chris Bashford, I think was his name, ORU graduate. And so, these meetings, you're just, like we've always said, you're one contact away and one piece of information away from doing a deal in commercial real estate. And so I'm an example of that, but now there's 9,000 people there for you to go and potentially meet and gain information from and partner with and stuff. So I think it's great.
Yeah, and in those events, we'll have probably anywhere between 40 to 50 people to 200 people, on any given night. Everybody has families, that soccer practice, and that kind of thing. Some people aren't as local to the community. Maybe they're in Oklahoma City or even outside of the state. We've got some people that are a little further away, but they invest here.
I assume you have a website where people could go on and see what the subject is and see if that's something they want to attend. Is that right?
I do. However, my web developer is working on arranging some things here. So,
okay.
So how do you get the message out to the 9,000 people? Is it a Facebook group? What is the easiest method of communication that you use?
Easiest method right now is that Facebook group. I know not everyone likes that @everyone batch tagging feature, but that's I try to use that very sparingly. To let everybody know that we've got something going on, or I'll put out the entire month worth of content, topics. Website, coming online, I want people to be able to go and use that. It's something like, there's a membership feature, there's a deal board feature, there's, resources and education feature.
Is there any cost associated with any of this?
Yeah. So the Facebook is entirely free. You can have an entire existence and be an investor without ever having to buy a membership. There are some features that buying that $250 annual membership does provide a little bit more tailored experience.
Yeah, but I think most of these groups, a lot of them you have to pay to attend, and not necessarily pay to attend. I go to so many luncheons where I'm not a member of the organization. They'll charge me, $20 for showing up to the meeting or whatever. But I think you said something earlier that really struck with me. It's like, I didn't know what I was doing, so I just started talking. Like, you saw all of these people, you maybe had an opportunity at a deal. And I think we've all been in that position where we've had this opportunity. We saw this piece of crap house in the paper. We drove by it and we're like, man, I could fix that up and make some money, but they don't know where to go, right? What I'm here to say is it's that expo that probably changed everything, right? You said that. I'm not saying that. You said that. So it's groups like these where you can walk in and there's title companies, there's lenders, there's investors, there's people who've bought crappy houses and crappy apartment complexes and crappy storage unit buildings and crappy industrial buildings. And you have to walk in there not knowing anything and silent, right? You got to go in there and say, hey, I'm really interested in this opportunity. I've maybe got this opportunity. Do you happen to know anything about finding a lender on a piece of crap house in North Tulsa? Or do you know anything about industrial buildings? Maybe you can help me.
Or do you know somebody I can talk to, network a little bit, right?
Yeah. They're going to be holding a beer at the event. They're going to be like, oh, you need to talk to that lady. She's the industrial warehouse queen. Or, oh yeah, that dude writes loans like crazy. Go talk to him. If he can't get you a loan, you're out of luck, or whatever it is, right? You've got to go in there and kind of leave your pride at the door and say, I've got this opportunity. I don't know what to do with it. Help me. And all of these people are going to help you for free. They're just going to talk to you.
So I want to follow up on that. So tell us some examples of some of the classes or the speakers or the topics that maybe some people might learn if they showed up.
Sure. So earlier this year, we had Partner Tulsa came in and they were telling us about all the opportunities that they have with commercial commercial investors, land investors. They have a lot of resources that they get from, various different sources, funding sources outside of Tulsa that they lend into the community here for redevelopment. There are some initiatives that the city has, and they have partnered with Community Tulsa, Partner Tulsa, that they give those resources to people who are specifically in multifamily, specifically in commercial or industrial, and they're trying to revive some of those developments. We've got a lot of investors that do the single family or small multifamily. That's not really what they're focusing on. They are really focusing on those more established investors. Earlier than that, we had Brandon Neth was doing credit card stacking, let people know how to use points and stacking, for purchasing real estate or for travel for free. We say for free, but you get the credit card, you spend the money, you earn the points. I don't know how free that is, but that certainly you get some rewards that you might not think about. This last time we had Greg Lehrman from API Exchange came, and we were talking about 1031 exchange features from the IRS code. So, those are some recent topics. Next month we have Lindsay Barber. She's with CCK Strategies. She's a real estate tax strategist, to help people plan how to not wind up at the end of the year and, have to file your taxes and then wish you would have done something. She's actually a strategist before we get to the end of the year.
And do you record these and post them online, or?
Yeah, I'm working on a better technology feature. Yes, we record them. So far, the what I've recorded has not been made available. Maybe my technology needs to improve.
Okay, interesting. I just think over time you're going to build up a database of a lot of different episodes, and if you had on your website, where people could click in about the 1031 or whatever, I think it would draw a lot of traffic.
That's the plan. Just the execution of that. I don't want to say I'm a one-man show. I do have some really good help. I have a couple of board members that are really good at helping advise. I'm just trying to build the right team. And you were asking, how do we get from 2,100 people to where we are now? It's building the right team. It's having the right conversations with the right people that can execute with the vision that you have. So that means that, I've got to communicate that, what that looks like going forward.
I think about the website, Bigger Pockets, it kind of reminds me of what, this Tulsa Real Estate Investor Association could do on a smaller scale, where
Absolutely
it's a
right.
total resource for everything real estate, not just commercial, but single family. And they log so many articles and information on there for people to go and see.
Yeah. So my plan for the website, what it does look like is a little bit like Bigger Pockets, a little bit like Angie's List, a little bit like Investor Lift, something like that, but for the more local market, regional market, maybe.
What about people who might be listening that aren't in the Tulsa area? Are you familiar with the same organization or real similar organizations? We've told our listeners before they need to find something like this here, and we didn't even know it was in our backyard. But because you're in this position, are you aware of similar organizations all over the country?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I partner with other real estate investor associations
in other cities.
Areas. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Joplin and I are actually working on a local conference that we'll put together, and for people here regionally, if that can be repeated, then that just
Brian
moves
was wanting
along.
to invest in Joplin, weren't you, Brian?
Yeah, that's right. Let's see. So let's say somebody you had an event and the topic wasn't something that someone was interested in. Would you encourage them to come anyway so that they can network? I mean, do your events meetings lend time for that, or what's your comments on that?
Yeah, so I do encourage people to come, even if the topic doesn't seem to apply to them right now. One, they're going to meet people, that have that topic might appeal to them, and you might need, a conversation with that caliber of person. So absolutely, the networking is invaluable. Yeah, I think that going to a meeting where the topic is maybe over your head or not down your lane is, an opportunity to ask questions, or it might spark some questions for you. Right. It might spark a different journey or, a node in the path. Anyway, yeah.
And you said the networking starts at 6?
Networking at 6, speaker at 7 on second Tuesdays of every month.
Second Tuesday of the month. And then does it end about 8 o'clock?
8:15, 8:30. Yeah.
Okay.
I kind
We'll
of leave
have
it
to
open.
show up.
ended.
Maybe Brian can be a speaker. He'll just talk about winning.
Yeah, that's right. Since that's all I do.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, I think like we should hit on what networking is, right? Because I go to networking events and a lot of people suck at networking. Here's what networking actually looks like. You go up to somebody you don't know or you don't see very often and you ask them tons of questions and then you shut up. You let them answer them. And then if they're hopefully nice enough, they'll, maybe ask you some questions, but that's not really what you're there for. You're there to get as much information out of all of these people that you don't know or don't see very often as possible. That's a win. That's how you won networking. When you got a ton of contact information and a ton of information from people you don't know or don't see very often.
Oh, and here's another tip. You're there to get as much information as you can from other people, asking them questions. What do you do? How do you do that? What got you into that? But the other thing is when people ask you questions, be forthcoming with information. Don't be coy and don't be secretive.
Right.
Because so many times people, they don't want to really get into what they're doing or how they're doing it. But that's the whole point. And so, if somebody asks you what you do, don't just say, I'm in real estate. That doesn't give them enough information. I buy multi-tenant retail centers and I buy apartments. And I started with single family homes. Now I've given them enough information to ask a follow-up question. Man, how'd you go from single family homes to multi-tenant retail or whatever the question is? And so, the dialogue, you never know where you're going to end up in that dialogue by sharing information. The key piece of information that you're needing is on the other side of question 4. And if you don't get there, if you're too nervous to talk to that person, then you're never going to get the information.
Oh, I love that. The key piece of information is on the other side of question 4. That's good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, guys, I think this show is about encouraging you to look into local resources. And right now we've given you a local resource here in the Tulsa metro area with potentially 9,000 connects for you to understand the real estate game better. And to find resources and information to get into this game that we are telling you is so lucrative. So any final thoughts, Kathy, on what people should do to get involved?
I really encourage people to, jump on the Tulsa REIA Facebook page. That is for free. Start having conversations, jump into, if somebody makes a post, jump in and have a comment. Make sure you're giving value whenever you comment or make a post and let other people answer your questions. I think that just being brave enough to get started and have conversations is really going to level up your knowledge base, and then attend those meetings. I love to see people. Yes, we do charge $20 for non-members to come to the meeting. That's not the reason. I love seeing people coming together, making deals happen. I'm not even part of it all. Just they are making connections and building wealth for their families based on, just coming to meetings.
I love it.
Right. Yeah, a lot of real estate is what right? Like you have to know quantitatively how to do a lot of these things, but there's an equal part of who you know. It's who do you know? Who are you going to sell this asset to? Who are you going to buy this asset from? Who's going to lease it for you? Who's going to manage it for you? Who's going to lend on it? Who's going to do the title work? Who's going to do the survey? There's a lot of people you need to know. So organizations like these are fantastic at networking. So thank you for not starting, but continuing to lead that on. And 7,000 members in 2.5 years, that's a big feat. So congrats on that, Kathy. Yeah. Thank you again for coming on, and everyone else, we will see you again next week.